Hello, this is the Inner Space vlog. This is vlog 40 and I'm Terry Brightwater. I'm a holistic life coach. And this week's evolutionary theme, this wave that's going through our individual and collective lives, consciously, unconsciously, is the paradox of perfection and the gifts of innocence. Now, I'd quite like to start off with the affirmation this week because paradox can be quite poetic in our lives, and I really like the affirmation this week in terms of how it really explains what this vlog is about, what the theme is about. So the paradox of perfection and the gifts of innocence. Not getting what I want is what I really need. Letting the innocence of my heart take the lead. Thus the paradox of perfection is resolved in my heart. The problem is the solution when the power of my innocence plays its part. Now, paradox itself is kind of goes with sort of riddles and mysteries. Usually when we mention paradox in a context in life, it's like we just feel confused, we don't really get it. And if we are looking at ourselves or looking at something else or someone else from a place of perfection, of fixedness, of only seeing it a certain way, of a place of fearful control, I want it like this, or why isn't it like that, I don't understand, I'm confused. So where paradox helps us in this is that really sort of like essentially from a spiritual perspective, from a quantum physics perspective, so like a scientific perspective, we are all one. So the paradox of that is that how we experience ourselves physically and psychologically, intellectually and emotionally a lot of the time is there's me and there's you and there's others and there's the sea, there's the sand, there's the rocks. There's this duality that's sort of happening within ultimately the spiritual and scientific context of oneness. But in order to experience ourselves, there has to be duality. So our vibrational rate of beingness, of doingness, is usually lower than oneness, because if it wasn't, we wouldn't be able to experience ourselves. We'd just be all one and floating around in bliss. Which sounds quite nice. But we've, at soul level, we've opted for this, in a way, a bigger experience. There's a paradox here. Bigger experience, the oneness itself, is rather than one, you've got two, at least two. There's me and there's you. And that's where the paradox of perfection comes in. From this fearful place of wanting something a very specific way, and we don't get it that way, what we normally end up getting is what we need. Maybe things that we haven't thought or felt about what we need. And so there's perfection in that. There's the perfection from a fearful place doesn't really exist from a controlling place, which fits in with vlog 39 last week. That just like control, it doesn't exist. Perfection from a fearful place doesn't exist. But perfection does exist, the paradox of it, from an intuitive place, from a compassionate place, from a place of empathy, of acceptance. It's if we can accept we're not getting what we want, but actually we're getting what we need, it's perfect. So there is perfection in the world, but from that perspective. If you're looking at it from a fearful place of control and wanting it a certain way, you're just going to get unhappy, you're going to be depressed, frustrated, and a sense of failure. So paradox is good in that sense. The gifts of innocence are really to do with our intuitive self, in terms of when we get what we need, it's usually our inner intuition. This is the Inner Space vlog. Our inner intuition is delivering, is attracting to us what we need rather than what we want from a fixed, over-focused, singular kind of perspective. So that's come up quite strongly for myself and for my clients this week. And so I'm really highlighting it because I feel like it's a really strong wave, and I feel like it's just going to get stronger. We're going to be invited from an evolutionary perspective to go deeper into our relationship with the innocence of our intuition. Innocence in terms of it's not interested in knowing, it's not interested in controlling and knowing what's going to happen next. It just knows what's happening now and what we need now, and intuitively give ourselves that with boundaries, with kindness, with love, with compassion, and with empathy as well. So I hope you're really getting that, you're feeling it, you're getting a sense of it, because I feel like it's quite an important one. And yeah, I've read the affirmation, so it's a very different sequence of events, but that feels perfect. So much love on your inner space, and I look forward to seeing you in the next vlog.